Got 1 minute. I've straight up now.
Good evening, everyone. I hereby call this regular meeting of Nacogdoches ISD Board of Trustees to order. Let the record show that a quorum is present and notice of this meeting was posted as allowed by Texas Open Meeting Act. Reverend and Mrs. Cheryl Brady, unable to attend tonight's meeting, and thank you for joining us tonight. At this time, I ask Reverend Irvin to do tonight's invocation, please.
Let us bow. God, we're so thankful for this day. We're thankful for this place and this people. Just ask that you would be with us throughout this meeting, and may all we do grant to give you glory and honor. Order our steps, for the steps of good men are ordered by you. This I ask in Christ's name. Amen.
Okay, now we are pledges to the flag. Tonight, Principal of Thomas J. Rouse Middle Elementary, Mrs. Paula Hausberger, and her students were leading us to the pledges to the flags. Ms. Hausberger, before you all start, I want to thank the parents for bringing the students here tonight.
And half over here. Awesome, we're set. Good evening, President Nerman, Board, Superintendent Burton. I am tickled to be with you here tonight with the TJR flag crew. At the end of last year, Mr. Farr, our amazing art teacher, came to me and said, do you mind if I start a group on campus to care for our flags? I said, absolutely. Mr. Farr was in the Texas State Guard himself, and he wanted to pass on his patriotism to kiddos, and he also wanted to teach proper care for the flags. And so he began the TJR flag crew this year, and so he's here with us tonight with a group of these kiddos that are representing that particular organization. So I'm going to turn it over to him.
Good evening. My name's Jeremy Farr. Like she said, I did Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts, State Guard, and when I was young in elementary school back in the 80s, we had a flag crew at my school. It was in Houston, and I just noticed that would do really well here. I asked the students if they had an interest, and overwhelmingly, they really wanted to do this. So we've got a system where we select a couple students each week. Everyone gets a turn. We're halfway through the year. Some may get a second turn. They're really enjoying it. They've done really well. They've picked it up really fast, and I'm just very proud of them. They've done amazing.
We are thankful to you.
Thank you, sir. Do you want to introduce yourself? Okay. Okay.
This is Santiago Mejia, Mateo Salceda, Noah Rivera, Emmanuel Murillo, Juan Loa, Jasmine Alfaro, Betsy McIntosh, Sarah Chenza, Elisa Fuentes, Morelli Macias, Shane Harris, Yuridia Rodriguez.
And I think you are going to do as well. And Sarah, so you guys can lead it.
Please face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Face the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee. Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Hausberger, thank you so much for being here and bringing all four houses and representing the faculty of the amazing school that TJR is. And thank you for being in charge of it. Y'all are historical. I told part of you, but this is the first time this building's been used, and you're the first ones to ever do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Once again, thank you, parents. Okay, at this portion of our meeting is recognition, and Mr. Les Linebarger will introduce.
Thank you, President Uramon, board members, Superintendent Burton. Well, we're in a new facility tonight, but some things remain the same. And excellence keeps happening no matter what building we're going to be in. So I want to welcome Jacob Weems, our director of our Nacogdoches High School Golden Dragon Marching Band, as well as some of his band members. And last month, they made another return trip to the state military marching contest. Come on up, Mr. Weems. Come on up, guys. And man, we're just so glad to have them here again. They've got this incredibly long streak of scoring first division ratings at the regional marching contest, and they kept that going this year. And Mr. Weems, it seems like we were up here like 3 weeks ago doing this, but a year goes by in a hurry. But that year includes a whole lot of work because it just doesn't happen by accident. So I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Weems.
I believe this is not his first rodeo.
I appreciate all of y'all, President Neermon, Superintendent Burton, and the board. Thank you all for this opportunity, and thank you for recognizing the hard work that these kids put in all year long. I'm going to let them quickly go down the row and introduce themselves because I told them they're going to work on their public speaking skills tonight.
My name is Yamila, and I'm vice president. My name is Lindsay, and I'm a librarian.
My name is Atavius, and I'm the president.
My name is Colin, and I am a co-quartermaster.
My name is Joshua, and I'm the secretary.
My name is John Carlos, and I'm a librarian.
My name is Jocelyn, and I'm head twirler.
My name is Dolores Flores, and I am historian.
My name is Carcy, and I'm the treasurer.
My name is Zephaniah Moore, and I'm a co-quartermaster.
My name is Shelby, and I'm the captain.
My name is Kimber Quinn, and I'm librarian.
My name is Grady, and I'm a librarian.
My name is Bridget Autry, and I'm the head of hats.
My name is Alex Vega. I'm the drum major.
So these kids, this is our group of officers. They start in mid-July. I think about the third week of July. They come in and start getting everything ready. They just performed a graduation about 4 weeks prior, and then they come in and get the whole band hall ready. Starting with our president is Atavius Miller. Of course, he is on every crew, everything. He's helping everybody out. And our vice president, her job is to check out instruments, school and instruments to all the kids as an enormous task to make sure that those instruments are working, checked out to the right person. And our secretary is in charge of taking roll for 176 kids every day, which is quite a task in itself, of keeping up with during summer band who's there and who's not there, and who's sick and who's not sick. Our historians have an important job. We make a slideshow for seniors every year. They keep track of all of our pictures and update all of our social media pages. And our quartermasters, Zephaniah and Colin, they have a huge task of outfitting every kid in the band with their band uniform, fitting it to them, making sure it works, and then making sure it stays fitting them throughout the year. Our head of hats, or as she likes to be known now, the queen of hats, is in charge of fitting hats for everybody. And they take up hats after games, take up, as well as the uniform crew taking up uniforms after the games, and make sure that everybody's looking their best. And one of the hardest jobs that I think we have are our librarians. Copying music, we probably play upwards of 15 to 20 different pieces of music that just fit in our flip folder. That's not counting the ones that we memorized too. They're in charge of getting music out to all of those children all year long, making sure that they have everything that they need, and that is an insane organizational skill that these kids have, and they've done an amazing job at it. We had started summer band around mid-August, probably, and now that we've started school a little early, that helps too. And we've gone through August, started learning our drill, and went on to region contest, and then after that went on to the state marching contest, and these kids did an absolutely phenomenal job. We were so proud of them. That was their best performance that they had ever done, and they just really knocked it out of the park. It was outstanding, and we are so proud of all the hard work that they've done.
We are very proud of you, man.
Thank you so much.
Leadership is serving, and you're great examples of not just serving, but superior serving, and in the reputation that your band has built up and you're building for the next generation of servers and marchers. Thank you.
Thank you.
We don't have a two-tier anymore.
Thank you all. The board now will conduct an executive closed session to discuss items posted on our agenda pursuant to the following provision of Texas Open Meeting Act and as allowed by Texas Government Code sections 551.071, 551.072, 551.074, 551.076, and 551.129. No voting will take place in the closed meeting. As the result of the action, the board will discuss everything, and however, the voting was not done in the closed meeting. All the voting is done in open session. And time right now is 5:13.
Whatever, right?
Yeah. Okay. Good evening, everyone. The board now is reconvening into open session, and time is 5:50 p.m. Please remember that items do not have to be taken as it has been listed. Again, thank you for joining us, and ask to please turn your cell phone to the silent mode. Okay, thank you. Okay, we are in information item, and our superintendent, Mr. Burton, this is your announcement and report.
Yes, sir. Thank you, President Nurman. Well, we're glad to be in our new building. It's a little longer than what we had hoped, but obviously we're excited and it's beautiful. And we're going to have a ribbon cutting for the building on December the 11th at 11:30. So please make plans to be here if you can. You get to walk around and see more of it, but we know it's going to be a very well-used building. I'm very appreciative to everybody that went in to help get this thing built and that voted to have it built because of the 2018 bond. So 7 years old, but I think everybody will say that it's money well spent at this point. That also, we got a new elementary campus, an expanded middle school, and a state-of-the-art career and technical education center. We were also able to renovate our transportation center and have a campus solely dedicated to pre-K students. So we know there were a lot of projects that went on with this bond, not just this one, so thank you again for everything. The playground at elementary school, Reggae, is now open for business. The official unveiling took place on October 28th during a ribbon-cutting ceremony held on the playground behind the campus. Principal Wells cut the ribbon, or tried to. It was a stubborn piece of ribbon. And the Reggae students, those with the best attendance, were the first to try out the new equipment. Sure looked to me like they received it very enthusiastically. You, the board, approved the purchase and the installation of the new equipment back in April, and I know Ms. Wells and her entire staff and students appreciate your commitment and are grateful for that vote. There are so many Christmas-related events coming up over the next few weeks, and if I name them all, we'd be here much longer than Reverend Irvin or any of us would like to be here. So, the Christmas band concert that includes both middle school and high school bands will be on December the 15th at 7 p.m. in the competition gym at Nacogdoches High School. I never cease to amaze how good our sixth grade band can sound by Christmas. The Christmas choir concert, and it also includes both middle school and high school students, will be December the 9th at 6 p.m. at First United Methodist Church in Nacogdoches. The Dragonette Christmas Show will be held over 3 nights, December 4th and 5th, in the NHS Auditorium. These shows will be at 7 p.m., and I'm going to assume either the 5th or the 6th or the 3rd, because I only said 4th and 5th, but it says 3 nights. So I don't see less, but he wrote that down. But those will be at 7 p.m. And, of course, the Reggae Choir, elementary school choir, will be making its annual, and I may say historic trip to the Rotary Club on December 10th. That tradition dates all the way back to 1944, and I know the Rotary looks forward to that visit each year. That's really just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to all the Christmas-related activities and performances involving NISD students in the coming days. Keep a close eye on the district's website and on our social media accounts for more details. One final thing. There is no school next week, which I'm sure this message is supported by the students and teachers alike. So I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving as we move headlong towards the end of the first semester. And that is my report, President Nierman.
Thank you, sir. Now we're in portion of public comment. We have not received any requests to address the board. However, those who are interested to address the board in the future, the information concerning how to sign up are included on the meeting notice. At this time, we move to public hearing. We have 3 items on the public hearing portion of agenda. Item A is we will now proceed with the public hearing on a financial integrity rating system of Texas, better known as FIRST, F-I-R-S-T report. Mr. Ben Eberland Chief Financial Officer will present, and people would have a comment in the after the meetings, they're welcome.
Good evening, President Neermon, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Burton. Tonight, we are going to be looking at the Nacogdoches ISD first report. Y'all have it on your screens yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
We got what you have.
Apologize.
There it is.
I'm in control of that. New building. I'm honored, by the way, to be the first presentation. So bear with me as we roll through this. So the first report, otherwise known as the Annual Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas Management Report, is designed to achieve quality performance in the management of school districts' financial resources. Obviously, school finance is easy to understand and not complex at all, so they made this to basically allow the public and the layman able to understand how a district is doing financially. So this first rating is based on an analysis of school or staff and student data reported for the 24-25 school year and budgetary and annual financial data for the year ended June 30th, 2024. The school first rating system rates the district on a factor of indicators. There's 21 performance indicators that were measured by, and we'll have the pleasure of going through each and every one and saying how we did. As I said, there are 21 key indicators. There are multitude 4 rating statuses, A being superior, B above standard, C meets standard, and F substandard. Nacogdoches ISD rated 98 out of 100 points, increasing from last year with 96 points. There are 7 ceiling indicators. Basically, this means if you were to fail any one of these ceiling indicators, the max amount of points you could get is there to the right. So as we go, we'll note these ceiling indicators and kind of know where the district is in reference. So we'll start on the indicators. Indicators 1 and 2, these are pass-fail. They'll be yes, no's, and some will have percents and all kinds of good stuff attached, and we'll go over those. Number 1 was the complete annual financial report, or AFR, and data submitted to TEA within 30 days of the November 27th deadline. Yes. Did we have an unmodified opinion on that annual financial report? Yes, for those. An unmodified opinion is the highest level of assurance you can get from an external auditor. Indicator 3 and 4, 4 being a ceiling indicator, was the school district in compliance with the payment terms and audit agreements? Yes. Did the school district make timely payments to TRS, TWC, the IRS, and all those other agencies? The answer is yes. Indicator 5, another ceiling indicator, was the total net position in the governmental activities column in the statement of net position, net of accretion of interest for capital appreciation bonds, net pension liability, and other post-employment benefits greater than 0? Yes. Indicator 6, was the average change in fund balance over 3 years less than a 25% decrease, or did the current year's assigned and unassigned fund balance exceed 75 days of operational expenditures? Yes, we have a very healthy fund balance. Fund balance increased 1.8%, and the district had 211 days of operational expenditures in fund balance. Indicator 7, was the number of days of cash on hand and current investments in the general fund for school district sufficient to cover operating expenditures? Yes, the district had 213 days of cash on hand and current investments. Just a note, to receive maximum points, we must have 90 days of cash on hand. Indicators 8 and 9. Was the measure of current assets, current liabilities ratio for the district sufficient to cover short-term debt? Yes, we have a ratio of 3.19. Did the district's general fund revenues equal or exceed expenditures? excluding facilities acquisitions and construction. Yes, it exceeded by 4.4 million. Indicators 10 and 11. Did the district average less than a 10% variance when comparing budgeted revenues to actual revenues? How good did we do budgeting? Unfortunately, this one wasn't rated, or fortunately, we did a good job because it wasn't rated. 11 was a ratio of long-term liabilities to total assets for the district sufficient to support long-term solvency. Yes, we have a ratio of 0.3767. Indicators 12 and 13. Was the debt per $100 of assessed property value ratio sufficient to support future debt repayments? Yes, we have a ratio of 2.9021 to receive maximum score less than 4. Was the district's administrative cost ratio equal to or less than the threshold ratio? Yes, ratio of 0.1222. And to receive maximum points for a district of our size, the ratio must be less than 10%. 14-15, did the district not have a 15% decline in students to staff ratio over 3 years? Yes, we had a ratio of negative 0.0334. To receive max points, the decline must be less than 15%. Was the district's ADA within the allotted range of the district's biennial pupil projection submitted to TEA? Yes. 16, ceiling indicator, a big one. Did the comparison of PEIMS, Public Education Information Management System, data to like information in the AFR result in a total variance of less than 3%? Yes, ratio of 0.0043, and I will say, just take a break, that's credit to Miss Shantae Rogers back there. She is an absolute gem, and to pass, the difference must be less than 3%. Indicators 17 and 18, did the external independent auditors indicate the AFR was free of any instances of material weakness in internal control for local, state, or federal funds? 18, and free of any instances of material noncompliance for grants, contracts, and laws related to local, state, or federal funds? Yes, we did a good job. 19 and 20, did the district post the required financial information on its website in accordance with government code, local government code, Texas Education Code, and other statutes, laws, and rules that were in effect at the end of the school year? And did the school board members discuss the district's property values at a board meeting within 120 days before the district adopted its budget? Yes. Indicator 21, the last one, did the school districts receive an adjusted repayment schedule for more than one fiscal year of an overallocation of Foundation School Program, or FSP, funds because of a financial hardship? No. So I've listed out the indicators as well as the score from previous year and this year, along with the highest possible value. Of course, 100 being the highest, we got a 98. We did pretty good. And I have also listed the last 10 years of scores, which you can see Nacogdoches ISD has a rich history of being very well managed when it comes to finances. We're all happy and happy to go. Good to go. So this information or this report, along with the following report that's coming, along with the superintendent contract, will be posted on the NISD webpage. Next, we will go into reimbursements received by the superintendent and board members for the 12-month period ended June 30, 2024. We won't go into all of them. It's here for the public and the board to see. Next, we will go into outside compensation and or fees received by the superintendent for professional consulting or other professional services. We had none. Gifts received by executive officers and board members that had a total economic value of $250 or more. And this is just I was going to say short, this is quite a long excerpt of what constitutes a gift. No amounts were reported for the 12-month period ended June 30. business transactions between school district and board members. There were no business transactions between school board members and the school district. And now open the floor for any comments from the board and or the public.
Member of audience, if you have a comment, you have 3 minutes. Okay, if there is no comment, we're moving on. Item B is we will now, proceed with the public hearing on a turnaround plans, better known as TAP report, for identified campuses, Brooks Quinn Elementary, Emmeline Carpenter Elementary, and Mike Moses Elementary. Dr. Kimberly Welch, Assistant Superintendent of Elementary Academics, will be presenting that report.
Good evening, President Nurman, Board of Trustees, and Superintendent Burton. Thank you so much for providing me with the opportunity this evening to share a new chapter in elementary instruction that is for all 5 of our campuses, but tonight the turnaround plan that we're sharing is required for 3 of our campuses, Brooks Quinn Jones Elementary, Emmeline Carpenter Elementary, and Mike Moses Elementary. So the reason that we had to provide a turnaround plan was due to us having 3 years of an unacceptable rating on those 3 campuses. If we continue to have a low rating for 5 consecutive years, then the commissioner is compelled to either appoint a board of managers given to this, or govern the school system, or order the closure of a campus. That will not be happening in NISD. Our plan will be submitted tomorrow by Dr. Corley to TEA, and we look forward to the growth that we know we're going to experience. We had several options in which to choose as our strategy for our turnaround plan, and we chose to partner with Region 7 and to do our intensive curriculum and instruction improvements. We were able to be awarded, to apply and be awarded the Learning Acceleration Support Opportunities, the LASSO 3 grant, which allowed us to have strong foundation implementation, which allowed us to have Bluebonnet learning in our K through 5 math and reading classrooms. And we also had SFI, School Improvement for Professional Learning Communities. And this has allowed us to have support in our PLC time on each of our elementary campuses. I was fully aware of NISD's elementary campuses that were struggling when I was hired in the fall of 2023. In spring 2024, we had already made the decision to overhaul our reading curriculum at that time. Being awarded this LASSO grant allowed us to fully implement Bluebonnet learning in reading and math on all 5 campuses. So we were not being reactive to TEA giving us the letter stating that we needed to do a plan. We had already noticed that we had an issue and were already in plans of overhauling our curriculum. We received notice from TEA on September 3rd, and at that time, the notice stated that we needed to have a turnaround plan for these 3 campuses. However, like I stated previously, the turnaround plan is being implemented on all 5 of our campuses. We immediately began refining our implementation for Bluebonnet learning and our PLC structures and creating a timeline for this implementation. The campuses, the 3 individual campuses that are required for this plan, they shared their ratings with stakeholders that are from their campus, and they elicited any type of input and comments. The turnaround plans were refined as feedback was received, and we will continue to collaborate as we receive feedback throughout the implementation process. Our overall goal for the 3 campuses, as well as for all campuses in NISD, is to receive the next 2 years for all of our campuses to receive an acceptable rating of a C or higher. Once we have 2 years of a C or higher, then we are no longer required to implement our plan. However, this plan will still be implemented whether or not we receive that 2 years. We will continue with this plan. Our strategy that we chose of intensive curriculum and instruction improvement is supported by our use of a high-quality instructional material that we refer to as HQIM for reading and math Bluebonnet learning. An implementation plan was created that consisted of these 5 components: setting implementation goals, creating the conditions for success, leading internalization and professional learning communities, which we refer to as PLCs, establishing observation and feedback practices, and aligning our assessment strategy. The first goal, setting implementation goal, consists of creating consistent implementation expectations. While it sounds very common sense, some of the stuff that we did, in a district of this size, we had realized that we were not consistent across all 5 of our campuses, and that was causing us not to have a guaranteed curriculum across the campuses. So the first thing we did is we looked at the instructional minutes that were being provided for reading and math on each campus, and we made sure that they all aligned across the 5 campuses. We also had targeted training for district and campus administrators, instructional leaders, and teachers. We established effective professional learning communities, the PLC's structures, and we developed monitoring systems to track progress toward our implementation goals. The second component was creating the conditions for success. And again, in a district of this size, we knew that we could not do this in isolation. We have partnered with Region 7, and then the efforts within the district consisted of us partnering with many departments and individuals across the district to ensure the implementation of this. We had materials access planning. This just means we had to identify what materials were needed in order for us to implement Bluebonnet learning. We had to look at our schedules and calendars. And teaching and learning this past spring, we calendared out the entire year. And this went down to the level of our content coordinators providing learning labs after school. We accounted for all of our professional development days. And then we blocked off and looked at how many days are we in instruction before teachers get a break. And the break might be just like we're having Thanksgiving break. It might mean that we're off on a Friday, whatever. And we realized that our teachers go for about 14 days before they have a break, which was wonderful. We have a great school calendar. And so what we decided to do is we would chunk each of our 14 days into specific look-fors for our teachers in order to focus instruction, rather than saying our big goal of our students need to show student achievement success. And, bless you. And we aligned our expectations across the district with it being Bluebonnet Learning being the primary resource for instruction for reading and math. Dr. Corley and the content coordinators did a tremendous job in making sure that all of this happened. They made sure that all of our students had workbooks. They made sure that all of our teachers had teachers' editions. They tracked every single shipment that arrived. Principals and assistant principals received huge shipments in the heat of the summer. And if you had been on those campuses, you would have realized, unlike myself, that we do not provide air conditioning in the summer in certain areas of schools. And they unpacked all of the Bluebonnet learning materials this summer to ensure that our students would have the resources necessary. Continuing on with creating the conditions for success, the fourth one was we had a professional learning plan. Region 7 is providing or has provided all of the trainings that are bulleted there, and our content coordinators continue to provide real-time support for successful implementation for our teachers. The fifth tenet of this is adaptive change and communication. And this talks about what we are committed to as a district. And this is one of the most important, that we are implementing Bluebonnet Learning to provide all of our students with access to high-quality, TEKS-aligned instructional materials that support effective teaching practices and promote equity and educational opportunities. We're committed to transparency if we make any modifications to our Bluebonnet Learning materials. We support positive change management through a multifaceted approach that includes creating a shared vision, establishing representative leadership teams, providing consistent support structures, celebrating all of our early successes, addressing any concerns that we see proactively, and fostering a growth mindset toward implementation. And Bluebonnet Learning provides all students with access to high-quality, TEKS-aligned instruction, regardless of which elementary campus, teacher, or classroom placement. The third component of our plan was leading internalization and professional learning communities, PLCs. Internalization was a new buzzword that came out with Bluebonnet Learning, and what this means is that our teachers fully and deeply understand the content and how to teach the content that they are going to teach to the students. In the past, we had planning days and planning time, and that has been replaced with internalization time. So now they have a curriculum that is completely planned for them for reading and math. So when they come together, instead of looking at all of the resources and trying to determine what they will pull from each of the resources to teach, their time now is to say, okay, what does this mean? How do you think we should implement this? When should the students have time to turn and talk to each other? When should we start asking questions? They're able to go much deeper with the content for the student experience to be heightened. So we analyzed our PLC practices, and in the past, as I said, this was planning time. And so what we did is Region 7 gave us product advisors, and these were people for each of our campuses, all 5 of them, and they come in every 2 weeks and they lead our campus through their PLC time, and they model how effective PLC should look. And then when they are not on campuses, the instructional coaches are there to continue that facilitation of the PLCs. We also looked at our structures for internalization and PLCs. We did not have any structures in place, and so we are building structures for what does it mean to understand what it is that you're going to teach? What does that look like? What does that sound like? And so the content coordinators have been putting together an entire resource for our campuses to be able to use during this time. And supporting all learners, that the teachers will employ engagement strategies. Our number one goal is to ensure that the student experience is heightened in order to improve student achievement. During our PLC times, we want teachers to be analyzing their lesson plans, defining certain academic terms that they may be unfamiliar with, analyzing student work and comparing student work across the district. How does it look if a student is here as opposed to at another campus? They might role play a lesson. Sometimes just saying the words to somebody else makes it easier when you're up in front of a class to say it. And being able to provide and receive constructive feedback from their colleagues. The fourth tenet, establishing observation and feedback practices. Again, in partnership with Region 7, we have an implementation advisor, Melissa Golden, who comes down and works specifically with myself, Dr. Hill, and Dr. Corley on how district structures are across all 5 of our campuses for Bluebonnet implementation. And then we have the product advisors who work at the campus level and with the teachers, with instructional coaching and feedback for the teachers. So we have observation expectations, and we have the observation and feedback cycles. And this is what we refer to as our coaching cycles. We have specific forms. We're only using Bluebonnet, and we're looking at the pacing when we go into classrooms. I want to give a shout out to our teachers who have gone above and beyond for being welcoming. There have been teams of 13 of us walking into a very small classroom, unannounced, with forms, people from outside the district as well as many of us within the district. They don't even blink an eye. Our kids no longer look up and wonder who we are. They go right on teaching, and we're sitting there and we're trying to determine our level of campus implementation and whether or not we are implementing as quickly as we need to be, and where are our gaps that we can improve upon as a district. We're not looking at individual teacher behavior or individual teacher effectiveness. We're trying to see district-wide, where do we need to improve. Our fifth component is aligning assessment strategies. Every 3 weeks, we have data that is collected and tracked to ensure that no student regresses. Ashley Boyette, our Director of Assessment and Accountability, has created a fantastic spreadsheet for every single campus for reading and for math for grades 3 through 5. Every time the students take a Bluebonnet learning math or reading assessment, all of those numbers are populated as down to the student level, and it's color-coded according to STAR indicators. So we know right away if a student is this, and then the next 3 weeks they take a test and it's lower, we need to hop on that. We are no longer waiting until the end of a 6 weeks when grades come out, which sometimes may or may not have aligned to grade level TEKS. We are making sure in the moment that students and teachers have exactly what they need. So we're analyzing our assessment practices. We are at the elementary level, we do not have what we had in the past of curriculum-based assessments. We now have curriculum-embedded assessments with Bluebonnet Learning. And what this means is we are doing assessments more frequently, which are embedded in the actual curriculum as opposed to maybe STAR formatted assessments early. We are told to trust the process, and when our students learn to think critically and they learn to think conceptually, that the STAR will take care of itself. We are also looking at structures for assessment practices, and this just goes to having a standard protocol in order to strengthen our assessment strategy of what we've been doing across the district for elementary. As part of our plan, we had to decide when we were going to roll out each component of our strategy. And so we created a timeline, and all of the actions you see on the timeline correlate to the 5 components that we just went over as part of our Bluebonnet Learning implementation. If you scroll across the bottom of this timeline and you look at the dates, you will see that we were being proactive in our approach. We did not wait until September 3rd when TEA told us that we needed to create a turnaround plan. A lot of this work was beginning as early as the summer, and some was beginning as early as the spring. So you don't see the date suddenly being populated after TEA told us that we needed to do this. We knew we needed to change in elementary, and we were already on that path. What the turnaround plan helped us to do is to refine it and to be crystal clear on what our goal and our focus needed to be. This continues our timeline, and these actions on this page will occur this school year and will continue for the next school year. This is a 2-year cycle that we are looking at. So again, all of these on this timeline align to the 5 components that we looked at for our Bluebonnet Learning implementation. This is just a different format. This is the milestones. These are all a little more descriptive of all the different actions that are needed to implement all of the stuff that were on the timeline. These are the same actions as I stated before. I wanted to pull your attention to Open Education Resource there under Spring of 2025, OER. What this means is that Bluebonnet Learning is fully accessible to any parent, any community member, anybody outside of Texas on TEA's website. They can see exactly what their student will be learning and what their student will be doing. It is a very transparent curriculum that allows everybody to know there's nothing hidden in it. We are doing it with fidelity. We are not using any other resources with this, so parents can be well assured that what they see online is what they're seeing also in the classroom. Down here at the summer 2025, and it talks about having product academies. Our content coordinators worked very diligently this summer, and they had hosted many product academies at all the different campuses as well as at the district level. So teachers were very familiar with not with the content, but with all the products and what they looked like prior to actually having them in their hands before they got shipped and they were able to have them. I would also like in the 25 and 26 school year to draw your attention to all the different activities and strategies that are being used in partnership with Region 7. The implementation advisor is consulting with district leadership. The PAs, the product advisors, are helping implement coaching cycles and PLC structures on campuses. District content coordinators are attending and participating in Region 7 coaching district coaching trainings. District content coordinators are ensuring alignment and cohesiveness and support. They are the hardest working we have in our district. They are on a campus every single day, working right alongside our teachers, holding their hands, supporting them, coming back and saying, what do you need? How can I help it? How can I help you? If they are ever in their office, which is rare, they are creating any type of content that will better help our teachers implement Bluebonnet Learning. PLCs are modeled by Region 7 for us. So when we are on our own in that gradual release model, they're doing it first for us, they're letting us try it with them, and then one day when they step away, we'll be able to do it all on our own. We have learning walks that we do, and this is when that big team of 13 and we walk around and we look at all these different classrooms from K through 5, and we see and check how are we doing in reading and math. We do stakeholder surveys, teachers and administrators, Dr. Hill, Dr. Corley, and myself. We send these out, and it's just asking, what is your familiarity with this? Are you comfortable with it? Do you feel better now than you did at the beginning of the year? It's just gauging our level of support that we feel that we're receiving. And also, our Director of Assessment and Accountability will create the comprehensive data dashboard. As I said before, that Ashley Boyette created our color-coded system. Dr. Corley also created a dashboard for us, which is a requirement of part of our plan, and she tracks all the percentages that we're able to see in 3 through 5 in reading and math. So we are tracking data. I think in the past, we were always collecting data, but we weren't doing a very good job of truly tracking it and doing anything with it. We are being very intentional with the data that we have now. As you can see on the next page there, the fall 2025, all of those bullets have already occurred. Down in spring 2026, this is what we're looking forward to doing in the spring of this year. On the next page, in summer 2026, as you can see, that this is almost like a repeat of what we had this past summer. So this is for all of the new teachers coming in. So we start building now our processes and putting our symptoms in place. And we have more to implement and more to accomplish. And then throughout the 2026-2027 school year, we will continue our partnership with Region 7, and we will continue receiving the support from them that we are receiving this year. On the last page of our milestones, in fall of 2026, again, this is a repeat of what we're doing this fall to ensure that all of our new teachers will receive the type of support that our teachers this fall have received. And then we will continue this cycle as we continue to build this out. Oh, there's another page, sorry about that. And then in spring 2027, again, this is just a repeat of what we're doing in spring 2026. and then again in summer 2027. We will continue to track student work and student learning at all times in order to raise student performance. As always, we do have resources that are needed, and fortunately for us, we were able to get the LASSO 3 grant. So we had $250,000 that is for our technical service provider for professional development supplies, which is Region 7, that goes to them. And then we have instructional materials that is $50,000 per campus. And these funds were accessed from local, state, and federal funds. And right now, I would like, as I call some of the following individuals and recognize them, I would like them to stand and to remain standing. Dr. Jolynn Corley, Lauren Canty, Jackie Eberlin, Melinda Wiebold, and Kendra Matthews, our content coordinators. Ashley Boyette, our Director of Assessment and Accountability. Our elementary principals. Any elementary instructional coaches that are here? Any elementary teachers that are here? Any elementary teachers that are here, please stand up. Please give them a huge round of applause. As you can see from everyone that showed up tonight, we are committed to this. And we are going to do better. All of our campuses are going to do better. This isn't something just for the 3 campuses that you see tonight. This is for all of our campuses to ensure that we will provide the very best opportunity for all students that will choose to come to Nacogdoches ISD as part of their elementary experience. I welcome any comments or questions from the board or from the audience.
Have a comment. I saw on your timeline where you kind of started with April of 25, but do you realize you started way before that because you guys knew you had some work to do, as you mentioned in 23, and you began asking for a new curriculum, and you brought that to the board. So you knew, and you had that ready, and you just whipped it out. So thank you for seeing that and for digging it and for standing up for it. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you for the support of all the people that are here that stood and all the people that are in their classrooms and working hard, because the students are the ones that will benefit and therefore our community. Thank you for your sacrifices.
I personally want to say thank you, not only to you, to everyone here. We are all in the same boat. Thank you.
I just wanted to ask, sorry, I wanted to
Yes,
make sure
ma'am.
everyone else is. I've heard some feedback from some of the and I don't understand elementary at all, it's so different. This, and what I've seen, and I looked very carefully at this curriculum, hear nothing but good things, and I was very impressed with it, how it brings in social studies and science for the reading and stuff. I'm relieved to see that this seems to be really good curriculum in such a way that, because we have a lot of teachers that have 5 and less years experience, that will help them learn how to use curriculum as a tool for getting the TEKS in and stuff. But my question is, in the feedback that you've heard, it's because just the way it's presented just now, it seems like it's like, okay, and now we got to do, and now we're doing this. How do you address reteaching?
The way that the curriculum is set up, it is a spiraled curriculum.
Okay.
So they might be teaching it now and might have a very low achievement or success rate amongst the students. And instead of reteaching then, they wait, they do some more learning of something else with some new concepts. And then when they come back, it might be a month later. And students have different background knowledge. They have different exposure to new vocabulary. They've read more. And so then it picks back up on that same concept. And it continues to spiral. If you're ever on one of the elementary campuses, I highly encourage you to go visit some of the, sorry teachers, some of the ELA classrooms, because the most amazing thing is when we do these walks and you're in a kindergarten classroom and you hear them talking, let's say, about Socrates, I kid you not, and the stuff that there are, the War of 1812, and then you go into a fifth grade classroom and they're doing the same thing, but completely different at such a deeper level and learning so much more about it. And you realize, wow, this really works. And this, like you said about, we have so many new teachers, and that is one thing when I came on board here that we knew that we needed. And as many of y'all know, I have taught many of our teachers here as students were mine at SFA, and I was a reading professor. And I was very upfront with them that I taught reading a very different way than what we're doing here, and was very much about autonomy, and teachers should be able to choose what they want, and all this other stuff. And I wasn't here 2 weeks, and I realized, oh my goodness, it's very different in schools now than it was even 5 years ago. And we have a lot of new teachers, and we have a lot of teachers who even went through regular traditional teacher prep programs, and they're coming out and they're still unprepared. And they are spending so much time on their own trying to cull all the different resources on how to teach something. And that's just for one subject. If you have a self-contained teacher, they're doing it for 7, 8 subjects. And they simply don't have time to do that. And if they were to leave from TJR and they were to come over to Mike Moses, it was like it just depended upon the teacher they got. It could be a completely different expectation for the learning, a completely different curriculum of what they're using. And so we knew we needed changes, and so we immediately did it in K1 using Amplify, which was where Bluebonnet came from. And then all of a sudden, Bluebonnet rolled out, and this LASSO grant rolled out. And so it was almost like all the pieces fell together. And like Ms. Winslow said, the fall of when I came, we just had a think tank of anybody who loved reading or wanted to know anything about reading. And we just came together, and I said, I don't know what the answer is, but we're going to figure this out. And we sat together and we talked about what are the struggles? What is your biggest concern? And I do believe 100% that this curriculum has addressed the 2 biggest struggles that teachers said that they had.
Good. That's good to hear.
Thank you.
If there is no comment, we move to item C. We will now proceed with the public hearing on Targeted Improvement Plan, TIP, report from McMichael Middle School. Presenter is Dr. Daya Hill, Assistant Superintendent of Secondary Academics. And floor is yours.
Thank you. Good evening, President Nurman, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Burton, as well as community members. You will see a lot of similarities as we go through this plan and the TAP plan, because Region 7 and TEA gave us the same workbook to utilize for both plans. So forgive me if you hear some duplicate information, but I want to give the plan due diligence. I also want to state that these plans are both located on the district website. They are under the accountability webpage, as well as on the required postings. So the reason we are writing this plan and having to submit it to TEA tomorrow is because McMichael was identified as an additional targeted support campus based on the 2025 federal identification. The campus also received an overall rating of a D for the 2025 state accountability. In order for us to get out of this, we have to have 2 consecutive years of an acceptable rating, which is a C or higher. And much like the elementaries, we will do that. And as I stated previously, we will submit this plan tomorrow. So thank you for allowing us the opportunity this evening. Much like Dr. Welsh said, we were given the opportunity from many offerings to determine a district improvement strategy, and us at McMichael as well intended or are choosing the intensive curriculum. instruction improvements. So during this process, the district and the campus selected this particular strategy. We received the LASSO grant that helped us support the implementation of Bluebonnet Math only for secondary. So we'll just need to keep that in mind. We don't have anything yet for ELAR. I'm going to address that in a few minutes. So it's for 6 through 8 as well as algebra. Part of the grant is selecting a support provider, as Dr. Welsh said, is Region 7. And so they provide us with an implementation advisor that myself, Dr. Welsh, and Dr. Corley meet with pretty regularly. Those visits are in person, they're one-on-one, they're via phone. She's available to us pretty much 24/7. And then the campus is assigned a product advisor, and he is on campus biweekly. For our targeted improvement plan, our timeline, we were notified on September 2nd that we had this particular rating. So we immediately got to work. Once the workbook was laid out for us, which was on September the 16th, and we had it completed pretty much around November the 7th. We did have 2 different stakeholder meetings because we felt it was important, and it was also a requirement to have our campus stakeholders come in, but we wanted to offer them 2 different times, one in the evening and one in the morning, to see if we could get more participation. And then lastly, we'll submit the plan tomorrow. As I've stated earlier, the main goal is to have a C or higher on our overall accountability rating for 26 and 27. As Dr. Welsh stated, and forgive me for continuing to say that, but again, there's a lot of similarities. We had to, as a district, write an open education resource transition plan. And within that plan are the 5 components that you see on your screen. So these areas and components will remain our focus for the remainder of this year, as well as for the 26-27 school year, because it is a 2-year plan. The writing of this plan helped us clarify a lot of district expectations, as well as district-wide practices and procedures that we knew we needed to put in place. I'll go into detail in each of these on the subsequent slides. Our first component is setting the implementation goals. So it basically is creating consistent implementation expectations, looking at our existing PLC structures and see if we needed to tweak any of them, monitoring systems, most importantly for effectiveness, meaning that is the work that we're doing, is it the main thing, and is it yielding the results that we want? If it's not, then instead of continuing to do it again, just a little louder and a little slower, we need to do something different. So it really caused us an opportunity to look in the mirror at ourselves and some of the things that we were doing. When we look at creating the conditions for success, there are 5 different areas over the next 2 slides that I'm going to summarize for you. When we looked at our materials, it was just imperative for us to get our materials, select them, get them ordered in a timely manner, bring them to you for board approval, and then along the way communicate to our campus principals where we were in the process. Regarding schedules and calendars, we did an excellent job of developing a district calendar that had those embedded professional development days, so it allowed our teachers to continue their internalization processes. The other thing we had to do is work with Mr. Fonzie and Ms. Thies to make sure that our master schedule had the appropriate number of instructional minutes as we moved forward with this. Aligning our expectations included ensuring that all teachers receive the training, of course, in a timely manner, analyzing our student work that's going to begin in our spring semester, and then appropriately backwards planning from the assessments, so making sure that the teachers had the assessments in a timely manner so that they knew exactly the targets for that particular unit. As we continue on with the conditions for success, it's important to note that the district, we needed to create a multi-year professional development plan for all subjects, not just the Bluebonnet subjects, but for all subjects, all courses, all teachers. And so that is currently under development and tweaking from some of the documents that we've previously had. So this plan will include training session expectations on topics ranging from orientation, instructional delivery, internalization processes, student work analysis, observation and feedback cycles, as well as job embedding learning opportunities. When we talk about adaptive changes in communication, the one reason we chose to adopt a managed curriculum is to ensure that regardless of the student's classroom assignment, we provide an equitable learning experience for all students that exposes them to, on grade level, a high-quality instructional material. We felt that that was just a necessity for us. As we move on to leading internalization and professional learning communities, as a secondary group, we continue to analyze our structures. We had some in place, but again, we wanted to tweak them based on some of the new resources and learnings that we had from Region 7. So this was developing consistent practices, providing examples of PLC, even PLC-like planning agendas, just giving them some ideas of some things that they could do. And even they suggested creating a PLC scope and sequence. So we knew exactly what we were doing on which day, if we had recently given an assessment, when the teachers were going to analyze the data, and then plan for that continued instruction to address any of those misconceptions that may have occurred. When we think about observation and feedback, there's a consistent look for tool that is from TEA, but we often use it. Campus administrators use it. I use it when I'm with them. And then when Region 7 is in district, we also use it. Teachers have an opportunity to look at the form, so there are no surprises. They are very well aware of any and all expectations and things that we're looking for. In fact, it was suggested to us the last time to give the tool to them so that they know as they're planning or internalizing their lessons, they might have their own individual look-fors to make sure that they hit upon. And again, those are just good instructional practices. Lastly, we ensure that all of our assessments are accurate and free from error. They're given in a timely manner, and most importantly, teachers have time to review the data and then, of course, adjust instruction to address any student misconceptions that may have arisen or show on their data. As Dr. Wells stated, Ms. Boyette created a fantastic spreadsheet for us today. Not only did Dr. Corley do the data dashboard, but this particular sheet that Ms. Boyette created is based on STAR performance levels. So we have students' previous STAR levels. So you can imagine at the middle school, there's multiple assessments. It's by individual student and how they performed at the STAR performance level. Then she embeds all of the local assessments into those, so we are quickly able to see if they're a performance dropper or a performance, I can't remember the other one, increaser, hopper, thank you. So we're able to sort it so that we can really get down to the individual student and find out what's really going on with those students. We too have a linear timeline that is in your board book. It covers 2 pages. Notice the timelines are down at the bottom. I'm not going to spend much time on these slides because I'm going to summarize it as we go on to the ones that are a little more lengthy. So because there's a 2-year plan, there's a lot of activities. So as you can see, our timeline also too begins in the spring of 2025. Highlighted activities from this particular slide, I believe, are the professional development activities for teachers, instructional coaches, administrators, content coordinators on the research-based instructional strategies, and the curriculum, which is also known as our product academies that our teachers attended. Through this process, the district is supported by Region 7, and as I stated earlier, there are bi-weekly meetings between the campus and Region 7, and then our implementation advisor has what we call step back meetings, and those are typically 2 a semester. We've already had our middle of the year feedback from them. In addition to the required data points, McMichael has lunch and learn sessions throughout the school year that are led by master teachers on topics selected by teachers. McMichael core content teachers have a PLC period in addition to their conference period, allowing them focused planning time to internalize the lessons, review assessments for backwards planning. The second section on this slide includes activities beginning this school year, and as you look at them, you'll see that these are going to be repeated as we go throughout the remainder of this year as well as next. In January 2026 through April of 2026, we're going to continue to have those data talks with teachers and host lunch and learning sessions. McMichael is fortunate enough to have a position called an academic advisor that is held by, the position is held by Miss April Grady, and so she is able to really dig into the data at more of a campus level and then meet with those individual teachers. We'll work with campus instructional coaches and coordinators on the implementation of the student work analysis protocol. That training is forthcoming from Region 7. We're going to continue doing implementation and walkthroughs as a campus, also with Region 7, and of course provide teachers with feedback. As we look ahead to summer of 2026, We're going to continue to have leadership and coaching training for all campus administrators. McMichael will begin using Amplify during the 26-27 school year for grades 6 through 8, English, language, arts, and reading. So training will be scheduled, much like we had those product academies for the Bluebonnet. We will have something very similar for Amplify. So in the next couple of months, you will likely see a board recommendation to approve the purchase of Amplify for those campuses. Again, we want to get those materials in early so that we can get Amplify on the docket to provide teachers with trainings. District admin will, of course, analyze all data gathered during this year, whether it's student performance data, the walkthrough data, any of our implementation walkthroughs, looking at all of that so that we can tweak any existing processes and procedures that we have in place. And lastly, those that are new to NISD will have a Bluebonnet training so that we make sure that they have what they need as we move into the 26-27 school year. And in the spring of 2026, it's important to note that we're going to identify teachers who have shown exemplary effectiveness to share their successes across the district. I know it was suggested to us by Region 7 the last time that they were here at McMichael. If we've got some of those teachers now, let's go ahead and get some video recordings of them so that we can share some of those exemplary practices and really get into some coaching feedback sessions with our teachers. This slide looks very similar to the one that Dr. Welsh showed you, with the exception of the instructional materials. Our amount is $100,000 rather than $50,000. Our selected technical provider is Region 7, so they received $250,000 from us. And these are also from state, local, as well as federal funds. And then lastly, I want to extend a huge thank you to Mr. Fonzie and Ms. Thies, because as stated earlier, you didn't just start this at the beginning of the year. There was much planning and data review that probably began last April and May, even before STAR scores, because they're constantly looking at ways to do things differently to improve that student experience. I also want to thank, I'm not going to ask you to stand again, but if you're a member of the T&L department, sorry, does everybody, Mr. Fonzie, Ms. Thies? Yay, there they are. And then also Melissa Golden and Clay Nyball, who are our supporters from Region 7. So thank you very much for taking the opportunity to listen to me, and I will gladly or be happy to entertain any questions you or any community member may have regarding this plan. Okay. Oh, ma'am.
Am I? Oh,
there we go.
Okay. You know, middle schools, they're a whole different animal.
We are.
And I've just been wondering, if as you're getting feedback from teachers and stuff and all this, and this is all great, and I'm hearing again, they're so enthusiastic. They really, and you have to be in middle school. But I'm wondering if you've heard positive comments about our change in the student conduct code, where, I mean, I loved it that we have that change where if you have a student, even the first time that they're disruptive in the classroom, then they are escorted out and there's someone on campus that's dealing with them instead of the teacher having to go through all the stages, you know, and calling the parent and all that. And then finally, you know, before you chop their head off, you finally get them out. But this seemed like such a great answer so that the teacher can go on with teaching, and this child that's having a bad day, and that seems to be, in my opinion, I don't have that much experience from teaching middle school. It wasn't, what I do have was enough. But it's such a rough time period for the child that if you get the distractions out of the classroom, then that's all automatically going to okay, so has any of that feedback, or I'm looking back there at Mr. Fonzie, have you noticed any kind of improvement because of this change in our code of conduct? I hate to put you on the spot, but I've just been really curious about this.
Back row.
Yes, all right, that's right.
All right, good evening, President Nirman, Superintendent Burton. And so, you know,
our big focus this year, regardless of anything that has changed, was to go in and focus on the positives with our students. And so that in itself, I think, has made more of a difference than teachers wanting students out of their room. And so we issue what we call Minga points. We have Minga
I've heard
stores.
about that. Yeah.
And so they enjoy, going into that. But when we do have kids that have those issues or those days, we have Coach Key on our campus, who's like a success coach. So he does a lot of one-on-one. Our counselors, we have APs on every hall, and so when it's needed, we are there. But those students, at the end of the day, our job is to try to get them back in that classroom so that they can learn as well.
I realize that. So that's
we start the year out. We set a goal to decrease referrals, and we've been tracking that every month, and we've decreased them by 50 to 100 every month versus what we were doing last year, and so. I hadn't, teachers,
So
I think they're really enjoying
is.
that.
All of us, so you
Go ahead.
really think that the attitude has affected the change more than the punitive, that we enforced?
Yes, most definitely,
That's great. Well, the few times I've been on campus, which, by the way, I've been on campus a lot this year for the 8th grade pep rallies. Oh my goodness. I hope when they go to high school, they are just as enthusiastic.
Yes.
Y'all have the best pep rallies ever. I never liked the high school ones. The kids are so, anyway, thank you. Okay, I'll shut up.
I just wanted to make a comment that what I've noticed between both presentations, because it's like ditto for some of it, but is just the word that you use, consistent. Y'all use that throughout your presentation. And I think even when just raising my kids, because I'm not a teacher, but when you're consistent with what you expect with children, teachers, administrators, for all of us, the consistent part is what makes it a habit. Once you develop that habit of these things that we're doing, I think that's important. And I just wanted to tell you I'm really impressed with hearing that, because it's a word that you're using across all of your campuses, not just within one. We don't have silos, and that's what I felt like we had for a while. And I would hear talk like, well, go to this school because over there they do this, and what you're doing is you're making it to where no matter where you go, where you live, you can go to your school. It's close by your house, and get the same education you would get at the other school down the road. And I like hearing that. So I know that was elementary related, but I still think even it applies, because as you go from elementary up to middle school, guess what? It's consistent. It's the same. The expectation is the same. The curriculum has a flow. So you're going from down here and you're growing up in it. So by the time you get ready to go to high school, you've had that reinforcement over and over. It's like, and then when you describe the spiral thing, well, that makes sense. And so I love hearing how you're working that into and thinking ahead, because you're planning to go from elementary and over. And then also scheduling the time. I learned this in my own world. If I don't schedule my time to include, it used to be go to the bathroom, but time to answer the emails, time to do the things that I do in my world. If I don't put that on my calendar, somebody's going to block it or, distract me from it. So the calendars and the schedules really do promote accountability to completing what you've set out to do. So I think your structure and your platform are just you've got a good solid foundation, and I just see that, if we can hold that pace and keep that pattern and go and be consistent, I think you got your CBA. I don't know. You got them all.
It's very intentional, and we have to be very disciplined as you.
And again, you started way before March.
Ma'am.
Okay.
I wanted to use a scientific word. It's called inertia. Some of you don't know much about inertia, but everybody knows how to ride a bike because you learned how to ride a bike. But the first time you try to get on and push that pedal and make it go, you probably fell over. I did. I used to climb up on the neighbor's. He was actually the principal of John F. Kennedy High School. I climbed up on the bumper of his car to get on my bike. It was too big for me, but I kept doing it. And then, you know what? I learned, hey, if you go downhill, it goes easier, it's faster. And as this training goes on, it's going to get better. We're going to get better and better. And who's going to benefit? Well, the students are going to benefit. We have competent, committed teachers and educators, and we are going to win this battle. We are going to teach these children, and we are going to do better, and it's going to be easier as we, just like riding a bicycle. I could get on a bike now and go ride it, and you could too, because we know how to do it. We're starting a new way. We're getting on a new bike, and let's get the pedaling.
Thank you, Dr. Hill.
Thank you.
Okay, this concludes the public meeting. Now we are in the report portion of our meeting. And we have one, his presenter is once again NISD's Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Ben Eberlein, Business Office Report.
Sir, President Nirman, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Burton. In front of you, you have just our standard business office reports that we do every month, bank reconciliation, summary of revenues and expenditures for all funds, summary expenditure status report for the general fund, and the check register sorted by vendor. I'll entertain any questions from the board from those before I kind of name out some of the wonderful donations that our district has received.
Board members, are there any questions? No, sir.
Under your consent agenda, we have a listing of donations received by the school district, and we just like to announce those for the public and for the school board to recognize. Athletics received $252 from the Athletic Booster Club for girls basketball. They received $1,685.25 from the Athletic Booster Club for girls basketball. And they also received $994.25 from the Athletic Booster Club for girls basketball. Nacogdoches High School received $300 from Legacy Construction for NHS HOSA, $500 from Anna Shirley DDSP LLC for NHS HOSA, and $200 from Rodman F. Allen Jr. for NJROTC. Margie Chumley received $300 from 21-7 Association for Student Needs. BQJ received $250 from Bob and Janice McKnight for the library. Teaching and Learning Department received 3 gift cards from Stonehouse Kitchen for principal appreciation, 1 gift card from Sombreros for principal appreciation, 1 gift card from Knack Burger for principal appreciation, and 1 gift card from Butcher Boys for principal appreciation. We appreciate our principals. Communications received $2,000 from Purdue, Brandon, Fielder, Collins, and Mott for convocation. Plant Services received lunch from Federation of Women's Club for appreciation, lunch from Reggie Hudson for appreciation, and lunch from ServPro of Lufkin, Nacogdoches for appreciation. District-wide, the district received 10 Commandments posters from Nacogdoches County Republican Women for classrooms.
We are certainly grateful and thank you for their contributions and their support of our school. Okay, now we're in consent agenda. Unless removed from consent agenda, all items listed will be acted on with one motion. If there is a board member who wishes to discuss an item on a consent agenda separately, please indicate the agenda letter. It'll be set aside for further discussion and a separate vote. Board members, are there any questions concerning any of consent agendas? If not, I ask for a motion to pass the consent agenda.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Okay.
I second.
Motion is made by Ms. Winslow, a second by Ms. Apt. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Same sign. Okay, motion moves, carries. Now, we have 3 items for discussion and action agenda. We have 9 items on the discussion action portion of agenda. Item A is tonight, there is no action resulting from executive closed session. So we move to item B, consideration of and board action on casting votes for candidates on the Nacogdoches Central Appraisal District Board of Directors for January 26, 2026 to 2027, December 2027. I guess that's a statement that I have to read. It says, at December 18, 2025 board meeting, the board approved resolution nominating trustees Reverend James Irvin and Mrs. Mindy Winslow to be listed on the official ballot to serve on the Nacogdoches Central Appraisal District Board of Directors for 2-year terms, beginning January 2026. Nacogdoches ISD has been allocated a total of 1,890 votes. It is recommended those votes be split equally among our 2 nominees as follows. Reverend James Irvin, 945 votes. Mrs. Wendy Winslow, 945 votes. The administration recommends the board approve casting 945 votes for Reverend James Irvin and 945 votes for Mrs. Mindy Winslow to represent Nacogdoches ISD on the Nacogdoches Central Appraisal District Board of Directors for 2-year terms beginning January 2026. As the result, I need a motion.
Need a motion. Do you want me to?
Make it.
I move that the Board of Trustees adopt a resolution casting 945 votes for Reverend James Irvin and 945 votes for Mindy Winslow to represent Nacogdoches Independent School District on the Nacogdoches Central Appraisal District Board of Directors for 2-year terms beginning January 2026.
I second.
By Mr. Dr. Tohi, Dr. Harold Groman, and second by Ms. App. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Carries. Then item C is consideration of the board action on a turnaround plans, also known as TAP, for the following identified campuses: Brooks Queen Elementary, Emmeline Carpenter Elementary, and Mike Moses Elementary, which was presented by Dr. Welsh. At this time, I ask a motion.
I move that the board approve the turnaround plans and selected improvement strategy, intensive curriculum and instruction improvements for Brooks Quinn Jones Elementary, Emmeline Carpenter Elementary, and Mike Moses Elementary as presented.
I'll second the motion.
Irvin, make the second motion. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Okay, that moves. Item D is consideration of board action on the Targeted Improvement Plan, also known as TIP, for McMichael Middle School, which presenter was Dr. Hill. And again, I need a motion.
I move the board approve the Targeted Improvement Plan and the District Selected Improvement Strategy, intensive curriculum and instruction improvements for McMichael Middle School as presented.
App makes the motion. I need a second.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item E is consideration of and board action on the memorandum of understanding with Nacogdoches Breakfast Lions Club for the Spot Vision Camera Program. Presenter is Ms. Kayla Hughes. Already there.
President Nearmont, oh, hold on, maybe I'm a little short. Okay. Good evening, President Nearmont, members of the board, Superintendent Burton. So this is a memorandum of understanding. The Nacogdoches Breakfast Lions Club would like to donate a Spot Vision Camera program for our campuses, specifically focusing on Head Start and Fredonia Early Childhood Center. In addition to that, we would also be utilizing that tool for our students on the campuses that have significant disabilities that would be unable to complete our typical eye exam. It's in no way replacing our current eye examination procedures. It's just providing an alternative for those students that would not be able to do it typically.
We are certainly happy to approve that, and thank you. Okay, I'll need a motion for that.
I move the board approve the memorandum of understanding with the Nacogdoches Breakfast Lounge Club as presented.
Reverend Avery makes the motion, a second. Okay, Ms. Winslow makes a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next is item F, which is consideration of and board action on the memorandum of understanding with the Stephen F. Austin State University for the school and health and service psychology program. Again, Ms. Hughes.
So this is in relation to working with SFA in the psychology department. As you know, we have difficulty across the state getting civil psychologists that are certified to evaluate students for autism and emotional disabilities. And so Dr. Allison Bradford, who used to work for us in our department, is recently working with SFA as a visiting professor for a new project with this department, and she reached out to us and wanted to join forces in not only helping us get support for our evaluation staff who are, right now have a large number of evaluations going on, but also giving students going through the programs practical experience in a school setting and not just in a therapy type setting. They actually get on the job training and get to see what it looks like before they actually get into the fields. And so in this program, we would get practicum students who are going through the program who have already gotten their master's degrees and they're working on their doctorate degrees in this area, and they are coming and working alongside our evaluation staff, our behavioral staff, our counselors, and getting experience. In this, they're also allowed to help with assessments, they're allowed to help with observations, and they're also able to help provide supports for writing up some of the reports. Of course, under the supervision of our staff to ensure accuracy and that information is done with validity. And so the team is very excited to have this opportunity because it's kind of a grow your own program to sorts. And in addition to this, the first year students that are going to be going through the program that are still in that master's level, they're able to come in and do observations in classrooms. They're able to interview our evaluation staff. And then it just continues that momentum. They'll come in as second years, and then third years, the idea is that they would then also be doing their their practical, but more of an internship where they are actually hands-on working with students and giving that assistance, again, without us having to pay for it.
Well, that is, I think, is great.
Yeah, it is great.
I just have one question. I don't know if it's for you or for Michael Martin, but our insurance is an umbrella that covers something like this with people coming in for this project.
Okay.
Wonderful thing to have because maybe some of them will say, I want to stay and do this all the time.
And they do the background check, and then once they are actually working with students without supervision, they would be required to also do the fingerprinting.
That's great. Okay, I need a motion.
I move that the board approve the memorandum of understanding with SFA for the school and health service psychology program for the 25-26 school year as presented.
I second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now we're item G, consideration of and board action, the first reading of TASB policy update 126. Mr. Michael Martin. It's about almost 700 pages, so.
Yes, sir. Good evening, President Nuremon, members of the board, and Superintendent Burton. The 89th legislative session resulted in more than 200 new laws affecting Texas public schools. Update 126 contains at least 28 local policies that are ready for the board's consideration and adoption, and more than 140 legal framework documents that require no action. Notably, Update 126 is the largest policy update ever required or released by TASB. In fact, it's double the size of the last legislative update. Our process of looking at these policies, the board is aware that we divide these policies out into each respective area of expertise, and our employees review policies, and we come tonight making recommendations of the local policies. But no, I wanted to take note of just a few policies that Update 126 talks about this evening. Senate Bill 12, as we know, prompted new board meeting rules and regulations, including that our board meetings have to be posted rather 3 days, 3 business days before the meeting. Also requiring that agenda items be submitted 10 calendar days before the meeting. Senate Bill 413 calls for roll call voting. Policy BED. Senate Bill 12, requirement for public comment to occur at the beginning of the meetings. Have Policy CJ Local, which requires, it has new provisions for contractors that they do not engage in DIE or DEI duties. Have Policy CQ Local, which is a new policy added to just handle artificial intelligence. We have CQB, which also has spawned a new division called the Texas Cyber Command, of which our technology department has to report to and also gather training materials from. Have another new policy recommendation for artificial intelligence under CQD local. It comes from House Bill 150. Also have CV local, which deals with the threshold amount for a contractor. Rather than a specific dollar amount, it now refers to the legal threshold. The dollar amount went up from $50,000 to up $100,000. I could go on and on and on, but if you have any particular questions or things, particular policy, we'd be happy to.
One is that the fact that all the board meetings, even the special meetings, has to be past 5 o'clock, correct? Okay. Okay. I need a motion.
I move that the board approve the first reading of TASB policy update 126 as presented.
Seconds made by Reverend Irvin. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries with condition everybody read those changes. Item H is consideration of adoption of resolution authorizing sale of the real property. Presenter is our superintendent, Mr. Gray Burton.
Yes, sir, President Neermond, Board. You will find in your packet that you have a resolution. This resolution is for the sale of real estate property that the district currently owns. It's 5.38 acres of unimproved land on North Stallings Drive. It's part of a large tract that we had at one point. That piece of property is kind of landlocked as is, and because of that and some other circumstances, we are able as a board to sell that piece of property. We don't have to go out and lease it. Go out for bid on that. The resolution basically states all those facts, and it goes to the legal ease or legal reasons why that can be. And so what I come to you tonight is to actually approve this resolution and the sale of the property.
Staff would read the resolution.
This is the resolution authorizing sale of real estate property. Whereas, pursuant to Chapter 272 of the Texas Local Government Code, the Nacogdoches Independent School District may authorize the sale of real property owned by the district. Whereas the district owns real property on North Stallings Drive consisting of approximately 5.38 acres of unimproved land out of the Madison G. Whitaker Survey, Block A 591, the property. Such property more particularly described in the attached Exhibit A. Whereas the district has no specific current or intended future use of the property and desires to and believes it is in the best interest of the district to offer the property for sale according to Texas Local Government Code Section 271.001 and Texas Education Code Section 11.154, whereas Texas Local Government Code Section 272.001B1 exempts from public notice and bidding requirements land that because of its shape, lack of access to public roads, or small area cannot be used independently under its current zoning or under applicable subdivision or other development control ordinances. Whereas the property is currently landlocked with no access to public roads and cannot be independently used. And whereas the property purchaser is an abutting property owner as required by Texas Local Government Code Section 272.001B. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the whereas statements contained above are true and correct. The Board of Trustees authorizes the sale of the property to Elliott Property Holdings, LLC, the purchaser, in accordance with Chapter 272 of the Texas Local Government Code and Texas Education Code, Section 11.154. The Board of Trustee authorizes a superintendent, through consultation with the district's attorney, to execute an unimproved property contract with the purchaser for the sales price of $107,500 and further authorizes the board president to execute the necessary documents at closing in a form acceptable to the district's attorney.
For those of you concerned what that property is right directly behind the Elliott Electric on the loop, before you get on the loop on it. This is Stalling Drive. Okay. I need a motion for that.
Go ahead, that's fine. I move that the Board of Trustees approve the resolution authorizing the sale of the district property, particularly 5.38 acres of unimproved land on Stalling Drive, and authorize the superintendent to execute the unimproved land contract on behalf of the Board of Trustees.
Favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And finally, what everyone waiting on, consideration of and board action for FY26 Enterprise Fleet Vehicle Purchase. Mr. Ben Eberlein.
You were waiting on it because it was the last one?
That's right.
Yeah. I told Mr. Linebarger before we started, I'm the bookend. I got the first and the last. Yes, sir. President Neermont, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Burton. Tonight I have for you a recommendation for the district to purchase 10 vehicles through Enterprise Fleet Management. The vehicles in question are 2026 Chevy Tahoe, Chevrolet Trax, Chevy 1500 work trucks, and a 2026 Ford Mavericks. These are for multitude of different departments, Student Support Services, CTE department, transportation, truancy, all of the above. What you have in front of you as your attachment, first of all, the term on your attachment has 48 months. These are 5-year terms, so it's really 60 months, but that does not change any of the numbers that you would be approving. All of the annual cost or as presented will be the annual cost. Monthly cost as well. So we had some questions prior to the meeting, kind of wanted to address some of those. Every single one of these vehicles is going to be a 5-year lease. it will be 44,000 for an estimated 44,000 budgetary impact for this fiscal year, seeing as we're about halfway through, 88,000 annually thereafter. It's for 10 vehicles, replacing upfront. Some questions about maintenance. All of that maintenance cost is included in the annual fee or in the monthly fee. The full maintenance program for that, of course, had to get off of my thing here. The full maintenance program includes all major and minor repairs, so engines, transmissions, radiators, all of the under-the-hood stuff, belts, anything, wheels, pulleys, all the good stuff under the hood. Also covers any annual or recurring maintenance, fuel, or not fuel, oil changes, fuel filters, all that kind of good stuff. It covers all of that. Maintenance-related towing, so if we break down on behalf of an engine blows, all the towing is covered along with the replacement of the engine, all of this being done within the 5-year lease agreement. They are very easy for our departments to go. Our departments no longer have to input any purchase orders related to vehicles. We have a centralized fleet expense model now where the business office will make a large open PO for the entire district, and it kind of enables us in the fleet management software to dictate and see, okay, this vehicle in transportation required these repairs. They went in for service on this date. And that kind of leads into another question that we had was how much maintenance have we had in prior years. So with it being so siloed is probably the best word for it to use. Each department was using their own POs. So it was very hard to concentrate what was actually being spent on repairs for specific vehicles to identify those problem ones. So what I did, instead of pulling past years, I pulled the last 5 months. And I know you can't see it, but there's basically 5 pages of detailed transactions. Every service done to every one of our vehicles that went and got serviced for the past 5 months, and the costs associated with each one of those services. That resulting in the past 5 months, we've spent roughly $35,000 on vehicle repairs and routine maintenance. So that is, honestly, just that alone, being able to pull those reports is fantastic. So when people hear the word lease, they kind of think, okay, I'm not getting anything. I'm not going to own this vehicle. I'm just leasing it, and I'm not getting anything in the end. This equity lease is a little different. It's actually completely different. We are buying to own these vehicles in a sense, or renting to own in a sense. We are paying in equity into these vehicles, and at the end of the lease term, we will have 2 options. We are not leasing these vehicles down to $0. So at the end of the term, we will have 2 options. We can either, 1, sell them. Enterprise will sell them, take them and sell them on the market, and we will get the equity that we have put in. So sale value minus what we would still have to pay to own it. So the other option, obviously, is we would pay the balance that is owed on the vehicle, which I believe on some of them is $3,000. I did talk to them, and they were open. They said that they are very flexible at the end of lease terms. If we decide that we just love this vehicle and we just have to have it, Johnny down the street just loves, in CTE, just loves his Tahoe. He just has to keep it. That we have the option to either one, pay in full the $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 that is owed on the vehicle, or they are open to splitting that out into equal payments over X amount of months. So that is the two options that we have. Me as a budget guy, I like seeing that I can have a planned amount of expense at the beginning of the year, and I know that's what I'm going to spend on our maintenance and our vehicles. Now, I will say, just as a note to the board and the public, this does not include tires and brakes. Historically, based on the utilization of our vehicles, we should not need to replace tires and brakes. I think we average throughout all of our vehicles 2,000 to 3,000 miles a year. So we're not a big town, but maintenance is the ones that run the roads. So they service all of our campuses, and we love them. So that is kind of the background of everything. I am more than happy to take any questions from the board.
Where will the maintenance take place?
There are approved enterprise vendors throughout town. Boatman Tire, let me pull up some of these. They actually list on the repair where the repair took place also. So Tipton Ford, Boatman Tire, Grease Monkey, Herman Power Tire, Tipton Ford, I think I already said.
Okay.
So there is a plethora of networks. I mean, they are a nationwide company, so even if we are in anywhere, Tuscaloosa, I'm sure there are approved enterprise vendors there. So I know our band sometimes goes places, so if they take a Tahoe, they'll be covered.
For the public and for the people present, can you give us an estimate of the oldest vehicle that we're going to replace, or an approximate age? And then when we are getting rid of these, we're going to sell them and recoup some money out of them, right?
Yes, sir. On your sheet on the bottom, it has total estimated equity, and it's negative $58,000. So I'm estimating, or I'm proposing that we replace 10 vehicles. I'm actually looking to sell 11 or 12. We're actually kind of trying to right size our fleet. And to answer your first question, the oldest vehicle we have, I believe, is a 1999 E150, owned and operated by the one and only technology department. So it is, it's well past its useful life.
It's unlimited mileage.
It is unlimited mileage. It does have a estimated annual mileage there, but we are not capped to a mileage. Like I said earlier, they kind of average out what we do yearly, and they kind of just put an annual mileage in there.
And we are authorized to put the NIST on the side of the vehicle?
Yes, sir. At the end of the term, especially prime example is our police department. When we purchased those new vehicles, we sold them NISD logo and all, and they will remove any decals. There are vehicles, so we can do whatever we want to them.
Okay. I don't have any questions. Anybody has a question? Okay. Board, what's your thoughts?
I move the board approve the fiscal year 26 enterprise fleet vehicles purchased and as presented.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All same sign. Motion carries. Board members, are there any agenda you would like to be put on a next board meeting? You have the note. Okay. All right. In this case, we adjourn.